Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Even If Project Podcast. I'm Christina, and I'm so excited you guys are here with me today. Today, we are doing a Between the Verses episode. And if you listened to the last Bible study episode, which was on John 10, 1 through 21, I think, don't quote me on that. But at the end of the episode, if you made it that far, I talked about how I wasn't sure if I was going to continue these Between the Verses episodes unless I felt like I was being pushed or drawn or felt a nudge towards a certain topic. And I kept thinking today about if I wanted to talk about something in particular, and I kept being pushed towards a specific topic. And I don't know, I think that I don't want to say passionate, but I think that I am really drawn to this topic, especially because I feel like it has so many precursors, and so it's part of the reason why there's so many mental health issues and anxiety and depression and all the stuff going on in the world right now. And I hate mental health so much. I think it's a terrible thing, and I wish that I could help anybody that's going through it. But lately I've just been feeling this sense of just worrying about everything. And it's not even just those bad, heavy things that we worry about. It's those small things, the things that used to feel manageable, the things that used to we used to not overthink this much. It's the going to the library and meeting somebody new for the first time and overanalyzing everything you said in the conversation on a drive home, or it's worrying about how you're being present in life, or worrying about if people are judging you and how you're parenting in public, and all these things that go through our minds. And it's crazy. I'm going to give you guys a little story because I think this is a little crazy to me. Before we moved, we decided that I was going to take some time off of work just because I haven't had any time off of work besides maternity leave since I started working when I was 15. So we decided that I would take some time off of work. And before moving, I had to worry about moving and working. Mind you, I worked dispatch, so I worked sometimes 5 p.m. to 3 a.m. or 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. So I would work crazy hours and then still have to wake up because my husband would wake up and lose sleep to take care of our child, while still running my own business, while still going to school, while still trying to manage being present and taking care of the house and doing all these things. And so when we moved, it was like, okay, I'll just focus on school. I'll just focus on being more present in my son's life and in my family's life and finding a hobby that I would really love, which ended up being this Bible study stuff. And just taking some time for myself. And then after we moved, you took out some of the big issues that were going on, that were causing some of these mental health issues, that were causing some of my stresses. The moving was a huge one, and the work was a huge one. And it almost felt like I was stressing out or worrying even more. Like I took things out, but I found other things to fill those gaps. I found other things to fill those voids with. I found other things to overstimulate myself with and think about and stress out about and worry about. And it just kind of made me sit with a question of, why does it feel like our minds never get a break anymore? And it's also like if we just sit for 5 minutes, it's almost like we can't shut our brains off enough to just be able to just relax for a little bit. And it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But I don't think we worry more necessarily because we can't handle things as well, or that we're not doing something good enough, or that our faith isn't strong enough, or that we're doing something wrong. I think it's because we're living in this world where we are constantly asked to carry way more than we were ever meant to. We're constantly being exposed now to everything. We're constantly being engaged mentally, emotionally, all the time. And from the moment we wake up, our attention is constantly being pulled somewhere else. Before we even are able to have a quiet thought to ourselves, we are already consuming something. Notifications, text messages, news headlines, social media, other people's lives, other people's opinions. And most of what we're shown is designed to keep us alert. And this is why I talk about so much, or I don't know if I've actually even talked about it on this podcast, but why I hate watching the news. ever since I worked in dispatch, every time that I come home from work or when I'm here now, I don't like watching the news. I like watching mindless chick flicks or cartoons with my son. I like stuff that is mindless and doesn't pull your attention, or I don't know, I feel like all these headlines and these things that are going on in the media, half of it isn't even true, no matter what station you watch. They're just putting things in your mind to make more drama, to make something else happen in the world. And it's constant. It's constantly trying to keep us alert. Breaking news, urgent updates, worst case scenarios, fear-based headlines, content that is meant to spark reaction and not reflection towards anything. And I don't know, I recently learned this, but our brains don't know the difference between information and danger. And I actually was looking this up earlier because I thought this was kind of interesting. But um, let's see if I can find it on my phone. This is from my.clevelandclinic.org, but it talks about I might slaughter this name, the amygdala, and I took anatomy and stuff, so I don't know how to say this. But it's basically a small part of your brain, and it has a very big job. It's a major processing center for emotions. It also links your emotions to many other brain abilities, especially memories, learning, and your senses. Basically, what it does, it's a small almond-shaped structure inside of your brain, and it's part of this larger network in your brain called the limbic system. Limbic system. It's your nervous system. Let's just say that. Not that word, but it's in your nervous system. When it comes to survival, your amygdala and your limbic system are extremely important. These are the parts of your brain that automatically detect danger. They also play a very important role in behavior, emotional control, and learning. So just let me continue for a second. Research shows that the amygdala contributes to more than just anxiety or fear. It also plays a role in the following: aggression, learning through rewards and punishment, handling and using unconscious memory, which allows you to remember how to do certain things without remembering how you learn them, like riding a bike or tying your shoes, social communication and understanding, including how you interpret someone's intentions from how they talk or how they act, emotions that relate to parenting and caregiving, emotions we connect to memories, and learned behaviors related to addiction. I think it's absolutely crazy that this part of your brain doesn't know the difference between danger, and it also processes things like your emotional, like how you handle your emotions, how you handle caregiving, remembering how to ride a bike or tie your shoes, um, emotions that are connected to memories. And we are being fed constantly. If you put on social media for even a second, if you open Facebook or open Instagram, you're constantly being exposed to something negative. News is negative. Everything is so negative nowadays, and it's crazy. But our brains just don't know the difference between information and danger. And this all has to do with this amygdala. Is that, yeah, amygdala, however you say that. I might have slaughtered that name. But we're constantly taking in content that feels urgent or alarming, and our nervous system stays activated. We are not resting mentally at all. We're staying vigilant. And over time, that constant vigilance turns into worry. We are overstimulated from it. Social media adds just a whole nother layer to this because it's not just information, it's comparison. We don't just see the world's problems, we see everyone else's highlight reels, their routines, their productivity, their parenting wins, how great of a mom they are, their bodies, their faith journeys, their put together lives. And if you're trying to have a child, you see everybody posting about how great their children are, and it makes you even more upset or more emotional. And even though we know that it's all curated, right? We know it's people are putting this stuff out there, knowing that this is their best selves and knowing that a lot of it's fake, especially with all this AI stuff nowadays. But it still asks quiet questions. Am I doing enough? Am I doing this right? Am I behind? Am I missing something? So now our worry isn't just about safety. It's not about the danger. It's also about adequacy. We're worrying about whether we're enough in our work, in our homes, in our relationships, our faith, our bodies, all at the same time. And then, going back a little bit, there's the news. We are exposed to tragedy on a scale that we were never meant to carry emotionally. Natural disasters, violence, loss, fear. And like I said, I would see this all the time when I worked in dispatch. I would hear it on the phone. There's still calls that I constantly can't unplay out of my head. But now we're fed this on the internet. Everybody is fed this information, and we see it all in real time. And while staying informed matters, I'm not saying that it's not a good thing to stay informed. Being constantly immersed in it cost us something. Our hearts weren't designed to hold the weight of the entire world every single day. So our minds stay on edge, always scanning, always bracing, always waiting. And I have been seeing a lot of this lately, and it's very scary to me because when I know I keep going back to dispatch, so I'm sorry, but when I worked in dispatch, we would get calls about people that felt like somebody was following them, or there was a group of guys that would go up to them. It was just like a mom and her son, and they would ask them a million questions and weird questions, and they just felt very uncomfortable. So they wanted somebody to come walk them out. And I was at a store one time with my husband, and we were in the garden section, and we were looking for bushes for the house. And I remember it was like 2 rows of bushes. So there was like a gap in the middle where you kind of enter, and then you go in between rows of bushes to kind of look at them. Well, we had our son in the cart, and mind you, he was young at this point, but we had my son in the cart, and he was outside, like in the middle of those rows. So if you went into the rows of bushes to find a better bush, you could still see our cart. You could still see our son from where you were. But if you're walking out to the garden section, you couldn't see who was behind the bushes. And it was crazy because I remember we needed another cart. So I went to get another cart, and I came back, and um my husband looked so like not upset. He just looked angry in a way. And I was asking him what happened, and he was saying that some guy came outside into the garden section and started walking super fast towards our son, and just was looking straight at him and walking super fast towards him. And my husband saw this guy, and so he kind of stepped out of the bushes so this guy could see him. And he was like, "Oh, this isn't where my wife is," and then just took off. And it's so scary, but we see, like, I've seen all this stuff on social media nowadays of, again, social media, but about how people are doing this thing, or sex traffickers, or trafficking in general. It's terrible, but they follow women and that are with kids inside of a store, and they're waiting for them to go outside. And sometimes right after they get into their car after they put their groceries away and stuff, and after they gotten into their car, they'll put a cart behind the person's vehicle. So the person has to get out and move the cart, and that's when they would try to make their attack. Another way that they're doing it now, and it gives me chills just thinking about it because it's terrible if this actually works, and it's so sad, but they will literally wait for you to put your groceries away. And there's usually 2 people, but they'll wait for you to put your groceries away. They'll wait for you to put your child in the car and buckle them in, and they'll wait for you to get into your vehicle. And then they will come to your door, and they'll knock on your window, and they'll basically say like, "Hey, did you know that your passenger tire is out?" It's usually on the passenger side. That way you don't peek outside your window and look. Um, and then of course you're like, "Oh no, I didn't know that." And you get out and go look at your tire to make sure that it's not flat. And that's when they make their attack. And it's so scary to me because even now I'm constantly looking over my shoulder, and I'm constantly worried about who's around me, because I've heard about these things through calls, and I've seen it almost happen to us. And now I'm seeing it all over the news happening to other people. I hate the news. But it's good to stay informed for stuff like that. But seeing it happen to all these other people. And so now every single time that I get in my vehicle, I constantly make sure my door is locked. And I'm hoping that every person does this. They make sure the door is locked when they get in their car, especially moms with little ones, or just moms by themselves. And if somebody comes up to your window and says, "Hey, Did you know that you have a flat tire on your passenger side of your vehicle? Just say, oh, I didn't know that. I'll look at it later. And that's it. Don't engage with them anymore. Don't roll your window down. Just keep your car locked. Wait for them to get into their vehicle and wait till you see them go away if you want to look. Just wait till they're gone and then look. Or if you can, and this is the best approach, if you really can, even if you have a flat tire, you can still probably do this. If this is what they're saying to you, say, okay, I'll look at it. Thanks for letting me know. Let them go away and then drive down the street or something and then just check really fast and get back in the car. Don't stay there and look at it while they're around, because that's what they're doing. And it's so scary that this stuff is happening, that we have to be on alert all the time. Our minds stay on edge all the time. Like I said, we're always scanning, we're always bracing, we're always waiting. I feel like I can't even take a breath anywhere I go anymore. And worry becomes this background noise of our lives constantly, not because we're dramatic, not because we're overstimulated. And this is something that really changed how I see my own anxiety. A lot of worry isn't about a lack of faith. It's about a desire for safety. We worry because we care. We worry because we love deeply. We worry because we don't want to be blindsided. We don't want to become the victim. So when your mind spirals, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means your nervous system is overwhelmed. Worry often shows up when we feel out of control or we feel a loss of control. And I think we think through every possible outcome that maybe I'll be prepared, or maybe I should be more prepared, or if I replay the conversation, maybe I can fix what I said, or maybe I wouldn't look so ridiculous about how I put that. Or if I worry enough, maybe I can prevent something painful from happening. But worrying doesn't actually give us control. It just gives our minds something to do when we feel powerless. And I'm not saying go to the grocery store and not be worried. I'm saying stay on alert for this stuff. I'm not saying don't do that at all. I'm just saying the things that we don't have to control, let it be. Uncertainty is so uncomfortable. But this is why advice like just stop worrying or just trust God often doesn't land. It doesn't stick, because worry isn't a switch you can just flip off. And hearing that can make you feel like you're failing spiritually, when really you're just being human. Faith was never meant to erase your humanity. And I want to read this short passage with you guys really fast. I found this earlier. Somebody actually brought it up to my attention, and I thought this fit perfectly with it. But it's nothing long. It's just something grounding. This is from Matthew 6:34. And again, I'm reading from a CSB Bible. This is She Reads Truth. I love this Bible so much. It is a Christian Standard Bible. So if it sounds different, if you're reading along or if you read this later, it still has the same meaning behind it. But it says, "Therefore, don't worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." And I love how honest that is. Jesus doesn't say tomorrow won't be hard. He doesn't say life won't bring challenges. He acknowledges that each day does carry trouble. But he also reminds us that we are not meant to carry tomorrow before it arrives. That verse isn't a command to shut your thoughts down. It's permission to stop living 10 steps ahead. The shift isn't, how do I never worry again? It's what belongs to today. I just want you to ask yourself, is there something I can do about this right now? If yes, take that small step. If no, then worry isn't helping you. It's just borrowing stress from the future. And there are things that we are responsible for. Don't get me wrong. We're responsible for our effort and our honesty and our boundaries and our choices and being in control of our safety. And there are things that we want to control: other people's reactions, outcomes, timing, the future. And peace starts to show up when we learn the difference in that. If we learn that we need to set a boundary as far as letting go of the things that we can't control or that we want to control but can't, and just focus on the responsibilities, I think we can be more at peace with ourselves. And if this topic really resonates with you at all, I would highly encourage you to take some time with Matthew 6, especially verses 25 through 34. It's an amazing passage. And not to analyze it, not to rush through it at all, but just to read it slowly. Just notice how often Jesus brings the focus back to today, and notice how he speaks about care and provision without minimizing real needs. Sit with it. You don't have to fix anything, just let it speak to you. And if you're someone who worries about everything, I want you to hear this gently. You are not broken, you are not weak, and you are not behind. You care deeply, you think ahead, you feel responsible, but you don't have to carry everything all at once. Today is enough. The moment is enough. Peace doesn't come from solving everything. It comes from knowing what is yours to hold yet. So thank you guys so much for spending time with me today. I know this was kind of a heavier one, I think, because there was a lot of stuff that I talked about that was a little bit heavier, but just stay safe out there, guys. There are so many incidents where people become victims, and it breaks my heart. And just, I don't know, if you guys have any other suggestions or comments or dislikes or things that you think that I could have said better, please leave a comment or send me a message. I would love to make sure that I'm telling you guys things that are actually accurate or that help you guys in any way you can. But if this episode felt like it helped you in any way, just share it with someone who might need this too. And I don't know, our next Bible study will be on John 10, if you're going to be present for that. It will be John 10. Let me get to that page. And it will be, because last time we read 1 through 21, so I was right. So our next study will be John 10, 22 through 42. So until then, take a breath. You are not alone here, and it's okay to set things down that you can't control in life. I love you all so much, and I will talk to you on the next episode.